Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you were watching not only the world burn, but everything you struggled and sacrificed to become burned down with it? I have. That day was September 11th, 2001. Easily, without question, the worst day of my life. Because for the 10 years prior to that, I worked my ass off to get accepted into journalism school. I sacrificed friendships. I sacrificed a social life. I did everything I had to do to ensure that after I graduated from high school, I would go to college to become a journalist. 3 weeks in to my run as a student journalist, 9/11 happened. I remember my mom calling me, "Hey, a plane flew into one of the towers of the World Trade Center." And I'm thinking, oh, that sucks. Must be the pilot must have, I don't know. I didn't know what happened, to be honest. It was all speculation. Last thing I thought was a terrorist attack, though, because of how implausible the scenario was, but we'll get back to that later. So I slide into the dorm with four of my new friends that I met during orientation, and we're all watching. And then, bam, another plane hits another tower. And I remember one of the friends I was with, his name is Pete. He lived in, I believe, Lower Manhattan, but I don't remember which part. His family had a grocery store there or something. And he comes in, bursted in tears, just crying his eyes out. And the only thing I could think to say to him at the time was, "This looks really bad, and it's going to take a long time to repair this, but I promise you, those buildings at least won't collapse because they were designed to sustain impacts like that." About 10 or 15 minutes later, one tower implodes. And I'm already smelling a rat because I'm not a mechanical engineer, but I wasn't stupid at 20 years old either. And a little bit later, the second building collapses. And not long after that, the mainstream media, and George Bush already had all the answers as to what happened and why. And I'm thinking, how can you not only discover all of this information this rapidly, but then also disseminate it to the public so rapidly? Something's not right here. And then, like a gong that goes off in your head, I realized that everything I aspired to be from the age of 9 was a lie and a complete waste of my time, and that I was basically paying into a pyramid scheme because these people were obviously lying and it didn't matter, which led me to the conclusion 15 years before it was popular to say that the mainstream media is fake news, and it's fake news by intent, and none of these people are interested in protecting the welfare of the American public, because they're blood-sucking scumbag leeches who don't care what they have to do for $1. And on one hand, I can blame them because they've never done anything throughout my life that made this country better at all. And on the other hand, I really can't blame them because that's where the money is. If that's not where the money was, they wouldn't do it. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean that it's acceptable for them to go to bed with blood on their hands every night, but I understand why they do it. And that's not the only reason why either. It's because if they try to do the right thing, like I've been trying since the fall of 2001, 90% of their reaction, the reaction to them will be, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're insane, blah, 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 blah. All the typical bullshit that people who read at a third grade level hurl at you when they don't want to accept reality for what it is. And now that I'm 40, part of me thinks that being a journalist for the people instead of being a journalist for the government was a complete waste of my fucking time, because no matter how hard I tried and no matter how many smears and slanders and libels that I chewed on, which is probably in the thousands by now because I've been online and on social media for an incredibly long time, it didn't really mean anything. How do I know it didn't mean anything? Well, if you take the last 5 years alone, communists overthrew a duly elected president, and not one fucking gun owner on the right that constantly brags about all the bullets and guns they have to fight tyranny with does dick about it. If you think about it, the only patriot in America right now is Kyle Rittenhouse, and he probably can't get away with it twice. So there's that, and then there's the fact that most of the people in this country tolerated the COVID lockdowns and mandates, and all I'm thinking to myself when this starts is, people are really, how fucking stupid can you be? Our government is basically saying we're going to destroy your life to protect you from getting sick, and then just like that, we have millions of Karens all over the country saying, wear a mask if you care about the children. Keeping in mind, by the way, that these are the same people who try to get the children blown up by the millions because Hillary Clinton didn't get to steal our presidency. And now we are rapidly descending into full-blown communism because, again, patriotic Republicans. And it really just makes me wish that I would have sold the public out and gone to the mainstream. But it was really a no-win situation no matter how I looked at it, because I always knew that if I did work in the mainstream media and for some reason the House of Cards imploded, I would end up living in a cardboard box holding a loaded gun to my head every night and wondering if I should pull the trigger. And wouldn't you know, in 2016, Donald Trump basically took the deck of cards and flicked it, and everything came at... So I'm not really sure what the point of this is, but maybe now you have a little bit of perspective that you didn't have 10 minutes ago. And now you know why 9/11 was the absolute worst day of my life.